Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 35 of the Brunch and Judge.
35, halfway through our 30s.
I know we're getting precariously close to 40, and I'm very grateful that 40 hits before I actually turn 40 because that's awkward. But yeah, fine. It's fine.
We're close.
I still feel stupid young, like when I'm out and about in the world
Right.
because I'm like, I don't have kids. I don't have this super structured life that requires me to wear super nice clothes all the time.
You're just
like
like,
I'm, still chasing my dreams and having fun. So I'm like, I don't feel old. I feel like at this point, my parents were like settled and super into the life that they had created. And,
hmm
at this point, I would have been like 5. And everything is very structured from my early elementary years to, you know, whatever. So
Right.
I it's comical to me that I had way more structure in my life as a 5, 6 year old than I do now at the age my parents were. Like,
Right.
whatever. That's
It's fine.
fine.
It's fine.
That's fine. Everything's fine. So our downstairs neighbors had a flood.
hmm
So they have had a company come in and rip up all their flooring. You might remember what this was like, Claire, my house with all the flooring
Oh,
ripped up.
yeah. When we got
So,
back from vacation that one time, and it's like, oh my God, your water heater busted.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. So, all the flooring downstairs was ripped up, and they even had to rip up some of the concrete, which makes zero sense to me. I don't
Oh,
know. I've
wow.
I've not been down there because I don't want to, but
Right.
um so I haven't seen it. I've only heard. I saw my landlord yesterday. But so they have the giant fucking fans down
Oh,
there,
yeah. To dry everything
and
out.
they're going 24/7 for another 48 hours. So there's a low fan hum in the background, and if you hear that, I'm sorry, I can't
That's
turn them
what it
off.
is.
Um,
That's
no
what it
one is
is.
there. Like they moved out. The couple that live down there, they're staying at a hotel for the next couple weeks while they get this fixed up. But
Gotcha.
I'm just like, okay, whatever. So apologies to any weird audio that happens today. I only have so much power and control. It's not over that.
It is what it is.
So anyway, there you have it.
That's the drama.
Well, hi folks.
Yes, we're here.
And we're excited to share our judges for the week. Claire, what are you judging this week?
Everybody's least favorite fake doctor, Dr. Oz.
Okay, before we get into it, I have always found Dr. Oz creepy.
Right?
Like, um,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
remember I never really watched his show because
Oh, me neither.
I just this not my thing.
No.
Um, but like I remember like anytime I would catch a bit of his show for whatever reason, when he would have someone come on, like an audience member or like just Joe Schmo person that's not super famous, he would hold their hand and walk them like up to the stage or across the stage. And it always made me feel
It's like, don't
really
touch me.
greasy, gross, uncomfortable vibes. And I'm like, why are you holding her hand?
Like,
She
don't touch
doesn't
me.
need you to hold her hand. Like, it's not like a gentle, like, sometimes people like lightly put their hand on the back of your shoulder to help kind of like,
Guide
okay, now we're
you.
walking forward. But
Yeah.
like, it's like, let me hold your hand. And I'm like, no, 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 no. It's weird. It felt very like infantile, like little kids holding hands, like that. It was weird and it always weirded me out. So just so you know, I'm not a fan of the Dr. Oz and his quote unquote medicine.
Right.
But I hear he's in the news for something else entirely. Claire, tell us
He
all about him.
is. Well, for those of you who don't know, he's running for something in Senate. He's running for the Senate in Pennsylvania,
Which, what the fuck,
which he
guys?
doesn't live there.
No, he does not.
Those people get on. Okay, first off, anybody who runs for public office in a state that they don't live in, like, why? Just so you can have a public office? That's stupid. You don't live there. You don't know what those people are going through. Just
No.
stop. Rand Paul.
Ugh. Hate him.
Hate. Anyway, I mean, he technically lives here now, but he didn't for a while. So it's like, just go away. We don't want you. Anyway, no. So Dr. Oz is running for Senate in Pennsylvania, and apparently he's in the news now for abusing animals. So if he wasn't already a piece of
Gross.
shit before, he most definitely is now.
He is
Yeah.
gross.
Yes. And it was, let's see if I can find it, at the Columbia University Institute of Comparative Medicine lab. And he apparently was the principal investigator, which means he ran these tests. So he knew what was happening. Whether he
Ah,
actually physically abused them or not,
he,
he knew it was
yes.
happening. So they're testing animals. I mean, we're talking dogs, pigs, rabbits, rodents, cats, all that. Apparently over 300 dogs died.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it was things where it was like they were testing certain things and dogs were paralyzed to see like how much pain they felt, stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not okay.
No.
That is not okay. Absolutely not. So, yeah, I am judging you hardcore, Dr. Oz, because that's no. Uh-uh. There
I
is a
just,
special place in hell for people who hurt animals. That's all I got to say. And if you wind up getting the Senate seat, I just, ugh, what is wrong with you, Pennsylvania, number one?
yes.
So, number two, why would you literally vote in somebody who abuses animals? Because to me, that's like sociopathic behavior, but whatever, you know.
This is one of the things, like, I understand that from a medical testing perspective, that there are certain trials that have to happen before we get to the place where humans can be trial whatever. And
Right,
like I understand it. I hate it. I feel like we should have the ability to not need that anymore. Like
right,
we should be able to use all of our magical skills and chemistry and genetics and biology to be able to
right.
determine what would the likely
We
outcome
have
be.
pretty fantastic technology these days. We shouldn't have to test stuff
Right.
on animals
But so
anymore.
like
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
I get that there are still areas in which animal testing is gonna continue. I know a lot of it happens on mice and rats and things, but
Right.
you can approach these things from a place of empathy and care and truly caring about those animals and hope and making everything as comfortable and
And just
okay for
even
them as
some kind of
possible. But like
decency, just human decency. It's like,
it's one of those, like, I understand where we start with the mice and the rats. I don't understand how we get to dogs and cats and bunnies. Like these are
right,
things that are not closely related to us genetically. I mean, I know I would start with rats, and then I know that we're pretty close, really related to like pigs in an
right,
uncomfortable way. By the way,
right.
apparently we taste the same. Gross. Um,
Ew.
uh, but I'm like, you don't have to be sociopathic and disgusting about it. Like
Right.
I
It's
uh
it is. It's just like,
and
but
quite honestly, it's like I can't stand it. Hell, I mean, I I'm mostly vegetarian these days. I can't stand it.
but it's like I think there was some kind of law that said that you had to, if you're gonna do it, you have to use like pain relieving drugs. Like you can't leave
Yes.
these animals in
You're not,
pain, but
yeah.
they were, and I'm just like that. Gosh,
But I'm like, it's, mm,
I know.
you, you can't cause pain for the sole purpose of seeing, does this cause pain? Every
Right,
fucking thing you're gonna do is gonna cause some kind of pain. Like, let's
right.
just be real. It's not like it's just anyone feels perfect after. I mean, it's obscene, especially when the pain receptors are so very different in those animals than they are for people.
Well, no, it just seemed like kind of gratuitous too, because some of the things I've read, it was like the data that they had wasn't even going to be usable. So instead of like stopping whatever they were doing, they continued on.
Because they're sociopaths. They're
Yeah.
disgusting filth.
And then it's like you should have euthanized the dog, like
Mm-hmm.
given it some mercy, but you're going to let it sit there for 2 days in pain before you do anything about it. It's just that, yeah, that kind of
There's
special
no
place in
excuse for that.
hell for those
Yeah.
people.
Like, that is not acceptable. It is not acceptable.
No,
Gross. And I
that's
hate
my
it.
judge. Is it's
It's a,
just
it's a really
disgusting.
good judge. Dr. Oz is a creepy guy on his own, but now he's a
Right.
sociopathic piece of shit on top of that. Oh,
Yeah.
plus, like, guys, he's incompetent. Have you heard the words that come out of his mouth? Like, it's hysterical. Like, he
I
just says
know. It's
weird non
sensical
connecting
garbage.
thoughts. Like, I've seen some of his quote unquote campaign commercials, and I'm like, this makes people want to vote for you? What?
Right. And the fact that it's like this has come out, there are people who witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's saying it didn't happen or he didn't know about it, whatever. But
It's
it's all
his.
alleged, it's all allegedly anyway, but still. There are
Mm-hmm.
people who've witnessed it who have come out and said, "Yes, I saw this happen." And you still have people out there who are backing him, and that to me I'm just like, no. The people who are still backing him even though it's
Mm-hmm.
like there's evidence that he did this or he knew about it, and it's just
Well, because they only
ugh.
care about the political ends. They only
Oh, right,
want
right, right.
someone who's going to do what they want so that they can get more money. They don't care how it impacts people or
Oh,
animals or
right.
anything. Because
100%.
the reality is, in case you're new here, the Republican Party is a piece of shit. I mean, like, not that all of their ideology is bad. There are some things that are just different viewpoints and perspectives. If we go
Right.
straight back to like the general concepts of Republican versus Democratic ideals, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the actual people that
Right.
are the Republican Party, that are your leaders, and that
Yes.
are out there. They're pieces of shit, and they don't care about anyone at all except for, does this put more money in my pocket? Not my
And it's
people,
like
not my constituents, not my area, mine.
right. Yes. Money and party
Hmm.
above everything, and I think that
It is disgusting.
trash. Yes. Anyway,
I mean,
that's
don't get
my
me
judge.
wrong, the Democrats aren't great,
No, no, we're
but
not saying that they're the best either. That's not what we're saying by
no, they
far.
have their own. But when you look at the numbers, because I watched that guy on TikTok that has like the spreadsheets of like
Oh,
all the
yeah.
states and all the things, and when you look at what happened, like how much more money goes into pockets of Republicans, it's really disgusting. Actually,
Right,
it's
right, it is.
absolute
Especially, like,
pure
from the
corruption and
NRA,
disgusting. I
you
mean,
know?
just horrific. So, yeah, what you'll want to go ahead and change your party affiliation if you want to keep listening to us, because guys, it's gross. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, that's my judge.
Dr. Oz sucks.
Yes, 100%. Don't vote for him if you live in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely not.
Like, vote for I don't even know who the other guy is. Just vote for the other guy. He
Right.
doesn't kill puppies. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway,
Excellent judge.
what is your judge this week?
So I went slightly lighthearted this week. Because
Slightly.
slightly. Um, oh, but first, before my judge.
Oh.
Update everyone. I finally got to judge.
Oh yes. You are judging, yes.
I got to judge the quilt show. I was one of 5 community judges. I got to go in before the show opened so that I could see all of the what do you call it? Entrance?
Um
Sure.
entrance
Entrance
participants.
participants. Um, so that I could look at them and pick the one that I thought was superior. I will throw up a picture of the one that I chose. It's not a great picture, so don't judge it based on the picture. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, so I had like they have this whole like board with like my name and like my bio, so that everyone who comes in knows that I am a community judge and like
You
my
were legit.
I was like I got to pick one. It gets a like a special certificate that's like April picked that as this. So it
Nice.
was, I want you to know, I took this really seriously and the people kind of laughed at me. Like they were appreciative because like I went and looked at every single quilt. And even if I didn't immediately like the quilt, I stopped to really look at a lot of like the detail that was put into it because some
Or
of it is very subtle. Because
the technical stuff that went into
because I
making the
was like,
quilt.
I want to make sure that I am not just like picking, oh, I like this one the best, but like
Right.
appreciating all the hard work that went into this. I know that they have like a real quilt judge, like a real person who knows what the fuck they're
What
doing and like technique
right.
and all the different categories and stuff. So I know like that's being taken care of, but I felt like it was my responsibility to appreciate the pieces of art that all of these people have taken a lot of time to make. And
Right.
so
So
just so that you know, it was kind of hysterical because I was really stressed out about it. They're like, you're just, it's supposed to be fun. I was like, it is fun. But I also want to make sure when I go home, I don't feel like I didn't choose right or like I
like
should
you
have
just
chosen something
like
else or
phoned it in and just like
right.
did something
Like I
like easy.
it was
Yeah.
like, I know this is important to people. So I want to put forth
Right.
the effort. So which is hysterical that I care at all. I mean, but like I care. So here I go through and I'm looking at some really amazing, cool, awesome quilts. And like I spend like an hour and 15 minutes because it's in 2 buildings. Like it's a huge show.
Oh wow, yeah.
And so I took longer than any other judge. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And when I finally picked, I went back to there's like the organizer people that are setting stuff up. And there's one woman who's kind of like overseeing everything.
Yeah.
And so our goal after we picked one was we'd go to her and then we would walk her to the one that we chose. And I was like, it's in the other building than the one that she was in. And so we walked to the other building and I walk up to one and she goes, and I point to it, and it's this beautiful, it's very small, but it's beautiful. It has this koi fish, it's in a pond, and it has like lily pads and this beautiful flower, and there's even like a beaded little salamander or something, I forget what it is now, that sits on top of it. Like it's beautiful. And there's these
Yeah.
nice ripples that have been sewn into it, from the tail flish swick of a fin or whatever. And I'm like, this one, I've chosen this one. I think it's amazing. And she goes, you chose mine.
Oh, and you had no
I
idea.
had absolutely no idea. And there were a couple of other people in that building helping, and they were cracking up. It's like, oh, it's a plant. She plant, being funny or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
And so
you're
it
like
was
cheatery.
wonderful because I was like, I was able to tell her all the things that I liked. And then she told me about the fabrics that she chose. So, like, that the fish was
Okay.
made with a very special hand dyed 3D textured Japanese fabric.
Wow.
And
So
the
you actually
flower,
talked to the
yes,
person who made the
who
quilt that
made
you
it?
chose. That's
And
pretty amazing.
the flower was made from cuttings from an antique kimono that had kind of fallen apart. So they were, because it's part of quilting is bringing new life into old fabrics. And so,
Right,
like, we
right.
had this wonderful conversation about the things that I loved so much about it. Turned out to be really special things. And I was like, this is great. I picked correctly because now I feel
That's
really fucking good about it because I made
right.
her day.
That's amazing.
And I'm like,
I love that.
yes.
I love it.
So
Nice.
guys, I am an excellent community judge. Feel free to ask me to judge anything because I will take it stupid seriously. And
She
I will
won't just
still have
like be like,
fun.
meh, this
But
one.
like it was like well, and so like I heard some of the other judges because there were 5 of us. And I knew a couple that had been chosen because I heard them be like, oh, and this one was like, I just love these chickens. And I just went to look at it. I was like, it's a fucking stupid quilt. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I can see that someone cared to make, but like, it's not special in any
Right.
way. So it's like, you suck. Well, not really. But like, took it super seriously. But then I like went back and stared at the chickens, and I was like, did I miss something with the chickens? And like, no,
You're like, no, I don't think so. I
no, I
like my
didn't.
choice better.
Mm-hmm. So, and someone asked, well, what happens if two of us pick the same quilt? And they're like, oh, that's never happened before.
Okay.
And it didn't happen this time either. Everybody has very different thoughts. And then like someone else picked a really cool quilt that was like a rocket ship. It had been made out of small pieces of fabric to build like a rocket ship.
Ooh, yeah.
And I heard her say that she picked it because she could just imagine her grandchildren playing on it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't feel like
That's
that was the point of the
weird.
community judge, but
That's
everybody
a
just had their
weird
own thing.
reason to pick something like
Yeah.
what? No, I feel like I would have done like you. Like I would have been like looking really closely at like the
Well,
stitching
and there were
and
some that were technically like there were all these amazing details that I thought were unbelievable. But there would always be like one thing that I was like, but I just don't love this one part or this piece
right.
over here, or there's something that feels slightly unbalanced to me, because it's me. I get to pick. So that's how the beautiful Japanese fish won. So yay.
Yay.
Anyways, that's my update. So what I'm judging this week, because I did judge, but what I'm really judging this week is related.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it kind of is. Fish.
maybe
Yeah.
it was like a subliminal kind of message to pick that as my winning quilt. But so guys, you may or may not have heard about the bizarre national news story about a competitive fishing tournament in Ohio. So if you haven't heard,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have if
if
you
I hadn't
hadn't
sent it
said
to
it.
you.
Yeah. I mean, like I know that fishing tournaments happen because I think even my high school has like a fishing team.
Oh God, I can't get into that.
Yes, there
There's
are I
nothing.
don't
Okay, no.
the guy who was the
Oh
coach was
boy,
one of my basketball coaches.
I can't.
And
I can't.
after he like quit coaching basketball, he did this fishing team for the high school that would go out into these fishing tournaments and he's passed away since then, but I don't know if the school still has it. But so like yeah, fishing tournaments, they're a big deal.
So
I get it.
here's the thing. I don't get it. I don't. I'm sorry if I offend anyone. I don't like fishing. Um, I don't understand it. Especially things where like you try and catch a fish and if it's not right, you rip the hook out of it and throw it back. Like just everything about it is just ridiculous. I'm not a
Right.
huge fish eater. I prefer like salmon as a general rule or tuna. I'm not super into the fish. But like I grew up with going fishing, like with my uncle. We went
Right.
fishing. Like I've done it. But
Yes.
for me, I'm like the goal of fishing should be to get food to eat, right? That's
Right. Not just like gratuitously
and so like the
fish
concept
and
of
kill them.
competitive fishing just it's I'm sorry, it's just really stupid to me. Like I can't wrap my head around the concept of let's have a team go out and try and catch the biggest, most fish or what I don't know. It just feels like this weird, bizarre. There's not necessarily a skill set to that. It's is a bigger fish around you where you're fishing. Like
Right.
I don't I'm you can go ahead and yell and scream at me as much as you want. Um so the fact that
But
there are competitive fishing tournaments
well, and I
makes me
think this
confused.
one, what I was reading was like you had to catch, was it five or seven fish?
Mm-hmm.
And then whichever team had the most weight
Right.
in those fish. They're all different. Some of
It's
them depend on you get like so many tries to catch, or you get so long to catch like the
mm-hmm.
biggest fish as far as like, you know,
Right.
length or whatever. I think they're different. So I
Okay,
don't
but
know.
so this particular tournament, um, there's a big cheating scandal. So this team came in with fish that looked like they should weigh about 4-ish pounds, you know?
A piece.
And
Yeah. Hmm.
and instead they're weighing like 7 or 8. And it's hysterical because people were like, boo, that's not like, and everyone immediately knew that there was
Something was
cheatery happening.
wrong.
Like it was just the most kind of like ridiculous thing. And so I guess they cut open a fish, which ugh. um guys,
April's a nightmare.
guys, I'm sorry. Anything that requires the death of an animal, it just makes me grossed out. But apparently these idiots had stuffed their fish with ball bearings and fish fillets. I guess to try and make them look bigger to justify the weight. I don't really know.
I know.
And
I'm just
so
like,
like they were disqualified for cheating and everyone is like cheering. So watch the and watch a random video. Apparently this particular team probably had cheated several times before and it's the first time they got like caught because they were fucking
busted.
stupid. And like I think what I'm responding to is the beautiful outrage of their competitive fishing people who
Right.
are just like super upset. And like, no, don't get me wrong. I hate fucking cheaters. Like, god damn it. Stop it. It's just don't do it. It's stupid. Go fish better. Go find a better fishing. So I don't know. It's like stop. It's so I would like to let you know. So the winning amount. So if you had won this particular fishing competition in Ohio, I believe it was like $29,000, which not nothing to sneeze at. My God,
Right.
I'd happily take $29,000.
Right.
But like the commitment to cheating for $29,000 feels really fucking stupid, as is the level of outrage over their cheating
Yes.
to
Because
the
it's
point.
like, yes,
But
they're
like
mad.
and I mean, they're not like mad you're not allowed to do this anymore. You can't compete in competitions anymore because that's acceptable.
Right.
They're like the cops are involved. There's a whole like fraud thing going on. And I'm over here going like I mean, again, they're bad and like they deserve to get caught and to, be punished absolutely. I would never say otherwise because I'm anti
Right.
all that. But I'm also here going, why is this on my national news CNN feed? And
Why is this like huge news right now? I don't
I'm
understand.
like, okay. But then I also want to go back to what kind of fucking idiot, which is my personal favorite. What kind of fucking idiot goes, hey, you know what? Let's take this fish that everyone knows is going to be 4-ish pounds. We're going to double it. We're going to stuff it
I feel like
with ball
doubling it was
bearings.
their
I'm like,
downfall.
you want to make that fish weigh like maybe 5. Give it a little push. People are like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah,
Like I
that's
feel like
fine.
they probably cheated so many times and hadn't gotten busted. They were getting really cocky.
They were fucking
And they
cocky
were
as
like,
hell. And now apparently they're going to go to jail for fraud because they probably did win some other tournaments cheatering that way. But so
right.
it's fine. Can you imagine? What are you in jail for? Why are you in prison? You're like fraud. Oh yeah, what'd you do? Stuff some fish with fish fillets.
In ball bearings.
Ah, stupid criminals. I love it. Um, but just so you know, guys, because I know Claire, you specifically are really concerned about the future of competitive fishing. I mean, now that we know that
I
fraud is
am.
so easy to commit, like how are we going to tell when people are,
When people aren't that stupid
when
and
they're
are
like
more sneaky
stuffing their
about it.
fish or whatever and be like
Right.
little bit here, a little bit there. So they've come up with a couple of options. Um, One which is horrendous to me because in theory you can put the fish back there. They don't have to be dead. They can still be alive. You don't have to kill the fish. Um,
Yeah.
is for the top 5 teams based on weight that those fish get cut open. Gee, thanks. To make sure that they've
Ah,
not been
tampered
tampered
with.
with, which gross. You know how I feel about that. But my favorite option is maybe they just start x-raying the fish.
Yes.
Feels very cost effective.
Right.
I'm just like, what
Put
if,
your fish through an X-ray.
like, what if you just stop competitive fishing?
Or that.
Again, everybody needs a hobby, but like, these are people who I feel like they get sponsorships to go competitively fish
Oh,
somewhere.
right. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going, why the
Yeah.
fuck does that exist? That doesn't feel like a thing that needs to exist.
Yep.
Competitive fishing. Claire, would you watch competitive fishing?
No.
Would you watch competitive fishing over professional golf?
Mm, probably not.
And to me, that's the true indicator. If you would rather watch professional golf game instead of a professional fishing tournament,
I just
because at least in golf, people are there to go, oh, or
right. Right. Well, and every now and then you get somebody who's got like a really good shot, or they get like
mm-hmm. Or it
you
goes
know,
like into the alligator's mouth, and you're like, yeah.
or they've got to like go into the rough somewhere, and you're like, they're never gonna make that. I mean, golf has some drama to it.
In every single one where they get to the putt and it gets close, but then it misses,
It,
it's like,
uh huh.
oh,
Oh,
oh.
yeah.
So there you have it. So that's my judge. My judge today is, well, I guess don't cheat, but don't be a fucking stupid cheater.
Right.
But also maybe expand your hobby horizons and find
Right.
some new hobbies that don't require the killing of fish for nothing.
Right. For sport.
So April's Judge is brought to you by fish.
She judged a fish quilt. She judged fishing tournaments. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this week, our topic was Unsolved Mysteries. Do 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 do. No,
Yeah.
that's the wrong song. I can't do the
I
song.
know. It's like cue the creepy.
Cue the Unsolved Mystery music.
Right. That haunted our dreams as children.
He always like stand. It's like he's standing in like the foggy street
Right.
with
With
the
like the trench
overcoat, and his
coat.
hands are in like the trench coat thing, and you're just like,
Yep.
bad
You're
things
like,
are
no.
happening.
You're like, no. All right. It's my turn to go first, right?
Yes, it is your turn to go first.
Okay.
So, Claire, what story have you brought us?
I'm going to be talking, and don't at me with some of these pronunciations, okay? I'm going to be talking about the Miyazawa family from an area, uh, Setagaya in Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes. Got my sources from Wikipedia as per usual.
Mm-hmm. You had to start
um,
paying them.
I know, right? Medium.com, abc.net.au,
Hmm.
and japantoday.com. So, the Miyazawa family, four members. It was the dad, Makio, he was 44. The mom was Yasuko, she was 41. Daughter, Nina, she was 8. And the son, I'm not going to say Ray, it's Rei.
Sure.
He was 6. And so the dad, Mikio, he worked at a marketing company, and Yasuko, the mom, she was a teacher. Nina was in second grade. She was very active. And Ray, who was the 6-year old, he said he had a mental disability, didn't say what it was, but said that the family was very supportive to his needs. So, you know how sometimes, like in these other cultures, it's like if you have some kind of mental disability, they just like kick you to the curb. But
Right. Right.
apparently, this family did not. And so, and the family lived next door to Yasuko's mother, Haruko.
Hmm.
Okay. So on December 31st, 2000, Haruko, the grandmother, she tried calling the family. It was getting close to the new year. They're celebrating that kind of thing. And there was no answer, and line was disconnected. And so she walked over and knocked on the door, and there was no answer. And so she lets herself in because she could.
Right, right.
And so when she goes in, she first sees that Mikio, her son in law, is slumped at the bottom of the stairs with multiple stab wounds,
Oh God.
trying to see if he's alive, he's not alive. And so then she goes upstairs and she finds her daughter Yusuko and granddaughter Nina were deceased, stabbed multiple times with a sashimi knife. And then she finds her grandson Ray in his bed, strangled. Like he was not stabbed like the others.
Okay.
So obviously, none of them are alive. She calls the police. So the police investigation concluded that the family had been murdered the night before around 11:30 p.m. And the police chief, his name was Takeshi Chusita, and he was in charge of the investigation until he retired. So the police say about the murder that the killer somehow climbed this tree and gained access to the home through a bathroom in the second floor.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. I hate
I
that.
know, it's
I hate
like,
that.
I
And
know.
just like
And
lock all the windows.
I know, right?
Don't let anyone
Even your upstairs windows, lock
in.
them.
Good grief. Especially if there's a tree nearby. Even if there's not, like, just lock them.
Yeah,
Good
ladders
God.
exist. Ladders can happen. It's like I don't trust
But
anybody.
that's like, can you imagine someone climbing into your second? Like, that's a lot of effort. It's not like they found an unlocked door and they murdered you. Like, they made intentional
Right.
effort to get in there to get you. Ugh. Okay.
Right.
Ugh.
And so they think that the first victim was the 6-year-old boy, that the killer climbed through the window, he entered the kid's bedroom and strangled him with his bare hands. And
That's
so
sad.
I know, and it's just like, but
It's
why?
a 6-year-old. You could. He probably would have
Yeah,
slept
why
through
was
it
he
all. Leave him alone.
first? Why was he first? That's what I don't understand. So that commotion, they think, woke up the dad, Makio, and that he ran to his son's room, confronted the killer, and the altercation resulted in Makio actually injuring the killer, but he in turn was stabbed in the head with
Ouch.
the knife. Yeah. And so that part of the knife broke off in
Oh
his
God.
skull. Yeah.
Ugh.
So the killer then attacked Yasuko and Nina with the broken knife, but also got a, what is it called? A Sentoku knife that was found in the home. So
Okay.
I guess his knife wasn't cutting it. No pun intended. I just realized no pun intended. Anyway,
Well, I mean, it broke off and
yeah,
what does it? I guess it wasn't, as
it
Claire would say,
really,
cutting it
I know.
anymore. Oh my
I'm sorry.
God.
Oh crap. No pun intended, honestly.
It was
I just
absolutely
realized what I'd
100%.
said. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no. Oh God, that was a bad dad joke. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You
That was
kidding?
a
That's absolutely the title of this episode. It's like, just wasn't cutting it.
God, yeah, okay. Oh my God. So he got another knife that he found in the house. And it said that their murders, for whatever reason, that they were definitely overkill, that he continued stabbing them long after they had passed. And it's just like they don't know why. I mean,
Hmm.
and so, but here's where it gets weird. And why this thing is unsolved, I don't know. I mean, it's just this is where it gets bizarre. So after the killer was finished with the family, said he remained in the house for possibly up to 10 hours.
Oh God.
Yeah. And they
Ugh.
said that okay, and this is where it's just like, this guy, you were talking about getting cocky, that, fishing team, this guy was like ridiculous. So it said he treated his injuries using a first aid kit, and he just left the remnants of that for police to find.
Wow. That
Yeah,
feels really stupid.
yeah, exactly. He used the family's computer. There was evidence that he just like hopped on the like why? Why would you hop on somebody's computer? You know, it's just that's odd. He ate 4 ice creams from the freezer. Like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm at this house. I'm just gonna get an ice cream sandwich. It's
I
fine."
mean, all right.
Mm. Um, Said he possibly, I guess based on evidence of this, possibly took a nap on the sofa because stabbing
He's
people is
That's
exhausting.
exhausting. I mean, he's tired. He ate his
Yeah,
ice cream, he needed a nap.
yeah. Ransacked the home, took some money, but it said he left a lot behind. So it wasn't like yeah, that's why it was
That's
like, this is
weird.
weird. Yeah. Um, he left items behind on the sofa. The knife, a muffler, which I'm assuming is like hand muff thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hip bag, a sweater, a jacket, a hat, gloves, shoes, and 2 handkerchiefs. And then this is my favorite. He took a dump in the toilet and didn't flush it.
Ew.
Yeah. Like,
The
what?
fuck?
Like, who what? Yeah, I know. Like, that to me is just like, do you want to get well, I mean, it's like, do you want to get caught? But he hasn't been caught, and that's what's crazy about this is his fingerprints, his DNA, all over the place, and they do not know who this guy is. That's what's insane to me about this. Like, this guy gave 0 fucks, did not clean up, just
Huh.
blatantly left remnants of himself all over the place, and it's like, meh, I don't know. So the investigation, they analyzed the feces in the toilet, and they know that the person had string beans and sesame seeds before he came over. And then they also discovered that the sweater that was left, only 130 of them were made and sold, but they could only find 12 people who purchased them.
Huh.
And I still feel like 130, that's still not a lot, you
Yeah.
know? Like, they were able to find out where the knife came from, where the sweater came from, and it's just
And
like
they still and again, they have all his DNA and fingerprints
yeah,
and nothing? They have
yes,
no idea who this is?
yeah, and in the sweater pocket, they found traces of bird droppings, um, a Japanese Zelkova tree, and willow leaves in the
Hmm.
sweater pocket. So it's like that could like tell them where this guy possibly came from, but still, it's not like nothing has helped, you know, find out who this guy is.
Maybe they need
And
to do that, like the familial DNA stuff that has
I
been working
mean,
here to be like at least
right. And
try and
so,
find a family member.
and this is where this part, one of the reasons they reached out internationally is because the hip bag that was left, they found trace amounts of sand that were from the Nevada desert.
What?
Yeah, specifically Edwards Air Force Base in California.
Aliens
Aliens, yes.
from
And
Edwards Air Force Base? I was near there.
yes. Like specifically that. And I'm just like, what is this? Is this I mean, you know, that's what this whole thing is just so
It's
bizarre.
so bizarre.
Yeah. And so, like I said, the suspect DNA and fingerprints all over the crime scene. No hits on anything. Any
Huh.
of the things. And I'm assuming they went internationally too because
Well,
it's like
yeah. Yeah.
nothing. So that means this guy has like no criminal history whatsoever. And based on the DNA, they surmise that he is around 5'7", has a really slim build. The slim build is based on
The
how he got
clothes,
into the
yeah.
house. Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
well, getting into the window and all
Getting
that,
into a
you know.
bathroom window. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and based on the wounds, they think that he's right-handed. Um, born between 1965 and 85, and that's a really big gap.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been 15 to 35 at the time of the crime. Could you imagine a 15-year-old? That almost sounds like a 15-year-old committed that crime, though. Well, how dumb. Like,
Well,
I'm
and
just gonna
all the
leave
ice
my
cream.
I'm gonna well, that I'm gonna take a dump and not flush?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a very teenage boy thing to do, does it not?
It does sound like they're probably under 25.
Like a teenage boy brain kinda thing, like,
Mm.
"I'm gonna eat all your ice cream, and I'm gonna take a shit and not flush." Like, that to me does sound very, like, teenage boy brain, because it's a disease in case y'all
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. But, blood type is type A, and that the killer is mixed race. Father was Asian as far and possibly, like, Korean or Chinese,
Hmm.
and the mother had European DNA, possibly Mediterranean or around the Adriatic Sea area.
Hmm.
So, but still nothing as far as we don't know who it is. And I mean, it's been 22 years since this has happened. Over that 22 years, they've had over 280,000 officers that were involved on the case to
Oh
date.
God.
Yeah, and they've had over 16,000 pieces of information come in from the public. And in 2015, they had 14 officers assigned to the case full time. And as of 2019, 35 are still assigned to it full time. So it's not like, I mean, it's cold, but it's not like we're not looking at it cold case.
Mm-hmm.
People are still investigating. And then in 2021, which is the Japan Today article, that was police were making another public plea if anybody knows anything to help them solve this heinous crime, because they have no, I mean, there was nothing about like motive.
Well, I
It
was
was
gonna
just
say,
like,
was
did
there
they piss somebody
any
off? Like,
motive? Like, who are these people that like
is it
is it just wrong place, wrong time happened to get murdered, or was
or was
there
it like mistaken? Like this person think that this family was somebody else?
hmm.
Think this family was like another family? Because I just the whole Edwards Air Force Base thing makes me think it was
Mm-hmm.
some kind of like, I don't know, like
A hit
CIA
of some kind, yeah.
assassination something, you know. But for the person also, but usually you think like CIA or assassination or something. There's like no trace. But like this person just like left their junk everywhere.
Well, but maybe that's the thing is that they left all this stuff everywhere, but it actually doesn't go back to who did it.
Maybe,
It's
maybe.
all
And I
planted
also think about,
because that's a
because
lot.
we've been talking about CSI. There was that one particular CSI episode where the guy like consumed his twin in the womb,
Right. So
and
his
he had 2 sets of DNA
mhm.
in his body. Like his spit DNA was different than his semen DNA.
Mhm.
So he was going around raping women. But then when they like swabbed him, it was different. And they're like, oh, it's not him, but it was.
Mhm.
I think about that too. Like I know that's like really
Well,
rare, but still, it's like, what if it was something
well,
like that?
but it's also things that are not quite as rare. Bone marrow transplants change your DNA as well.
That's true.
So I think your saliva is different than your blood.
Right.
So I don't know. It's weird. It's all weird.
It is.
That is spooky. Like they're
I have
just some
no
random
idea.
family and then they all just get murdered, like assassinated.
I mean, and it's like he just worked at a and like he wasn't like high up in it either. It was just he worked at a marketing company.
Mhm.
She was a teacher, like she tutored people, and and they had 2 kids. Like they were just seemed like some normal run of the mill family who just got murdered one night. And for
Mhm.
what? Because I mean, it didn't sound like they really took anything.
Yeah. I mean like it's it's weird cuz they stayed there. Like took a nap, had a snack, that it makes you feel like
Right.
it's just it's a random killing that way.
Right.
It's just someone who's like, this is a nice enough house. I'll just kill some people and hang out here for a little bit.
Right.
But then they don't take all of the money. That doesn't make sense to me because you're like, wouldn't you want to take it?
Right. Like if it was a robbery, you know. And also to me, it's like you think that he would have like taken out the dad first. Like the dad would have been the one, you know, like
Yeah. Why
why
are we?
strangle the child, the youngest child, and then that doesn't make sense to me either. Like there's things about it that were like that's either very smart or really really stupid. You know, it's just like there's so many things that don't make sense about this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, it's still open. The head guy, the Tushita guy, he retired, and you know that's like one of his biggest regrets is not being able to close this.
Right. Oh, God. It's my biggest regret now.
Right. It's been open 22 years. And you think, I mean, granted, I know things have come a long way DNA wise, even since 2000. You
Right.
know, even like you're saying with the familial DNA, you know, I don't know if
Well, and
Japan has
it
tried
sounds like
something like
they've
that.
well, but it sounds like they've done a lot of genetic information. Like if they know the father was most likely of Asian descent and the mother
Right.
was European with some Mediterranean, and you're like, oh, well, okay, that's a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge you have.
Right, right. Like they were able to tell like, oh, you know, like this blood obviously does not belong to the family.
Mm-hmm.
This had to have been because, you know, obviously from like him being injured and cleaning up his injuries, you know, he just gave zero fucks
He
about
gave zero
anything.
fucks. Yeah.
I just
Wow.
yeah. So
Well,
yeah, that's
and that this person hasn't done something to get caught to have his fingerprints and DNA in the system since then seems
right.
horrifying because you're like, if you were chill with killing four people, then you've probably committed a lot of other crimes since then.
Right.
But okay.
Unless this
Sounds
person
like.
just like left and then they themselves died somehow. I mean, that's what I don't know.
Oh, as a result of their injuries, perhaps.
Maybe they I mean, yeah, they don't know what kind of injuries it was. So it's like they just know the guy was injured. So yeah, it is. It's very bizarre that you have this much. I mean, you feel like stuff like that. This is like, you know, open and shut, slam dunk case, and there's nothing.
No. Oh, man.
I mean, they know what the guy ate, for Pete's sake. It's like, you know, it's like, ah,
He had string beans with sesame seeds,
which is
which
weird.
I'm sure there's a sauce like
Oh,
sesame
probably.
string beans or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh.
But anyway,
That is an
that's
excellent story.
that is the story of the Miyazawa family
And I don't think I've ever
from
heard that one
Japan.
before.
It kept coming up and I kept looking, I'm like, I'm gonna do that one
Hmm.
because especially once I was reading into it, like the DNA and the fingerprints, and then when I got to the part where he took a shit and didn't flush, I was like, this guy has got some balls, or I don't know what. I don't even know what you call it. It's just like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Because you know, you like I get it because you and I watch true crime stuff all the time.
Hmm.
And it's like we watch Dateline, we're like, God, that person was an idiot.
Right? And we're like,
Because of what they
here is a prime idiot. Like, what a fucking moron. Like you kill four people, which what it is horrific, but like your fingerprints are everywhere. You leave
right.
the murder weapons behind. You leave your clothes behind. You take a dump. Like you're eating that. Like you're completely contaminating the crime scene with only your shit. Like it's everywhere.
Right.
Quite literally your shit.
Right. Exactly. And
Should
you
have been
still
caught so fucking fast. Like should have been hysterically
absolutely.
fast. And everyone is just like, what a fucking moron. And then it's the Dateline story in Japan that we're all like, God, what an idiot.
And then it's like the
Yet
guy's
here we
still
are
wandering around.
going,
Right.
no one knows.
Exactly. Because there are so many times that I watch true crime thing, Dateline, 48 Hours, that
Hmm.
stuff, and you're like, these people try to like lie their way out of it. You're like, you're an idiot.
Hmm.
Like that was so dumb of you. Keep the text, keep the email, crap like that. And it's just this guy is just like, I give zero fucks. I do what I want. And they still didn't catch
I
me,
know.
which is amazing to me. I'm just like, I don't know if I should applaud you. I don't know. Cause I
It's
mean,
it's that it's the respect for, being able to not ever
evade
be caught, I
capture.
guess.
Yeah.
But it's not like and I don't even know if admiration
Right.
maybe. It's like you realize the thing that they have managed to accomplish, even if they are literally the scum of the earth. You're like, you're
Absolutely.
scum, but I
You
see what you've
know,
done here, and I have to be like, yeah, you did. Look at you,
right. So
because
yeah.
it's impossible. Like that would
I know.
it feels like that would be impossible.
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole thing, like I'm reading it, it's blowing my mind that they still have not caught this guy 22 years later. I'm just like, what? And it's not that they've got, and they probably have better technology than we do on some things,
Mm.
as far as, you know, DNA and fingerprints and that kind of stuff. And
Well, and I mean, we have a lot of privacy laws and things here that they don't have. So
right.
I'm like,
That's true too. Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
both of my parents have spit into tubes, so like I
Right.
can't commit a crime because they'll find me. They'll be like, "Oh,
Right.
it's a daughter of these two people, so it's only
Right,
me or
right.
Amy." Okay.
So yeah, that's my story of
That
an
is an
unsolved
excellent
mystery.
story. That was great. I again never heard of that one. Wow.
Yeah, I'd seen it come up a couple times. Like I said, I got into reading it, and I was like, "This is nuts. I need to talk. This one's crazy. I need to talk about this one." So yeah, that's my unsolved mystery. Hopefully, they'll find the guy sometime. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, that's gross. Okay.
Maybe he'll slip up and do something really stupid.
Or at least have the decency to just like leave a confession after you die or something. Like
Right.
at least let us have closure.
Exactly.
I'm talking to all of you, Zodiac Killer and DB Cooper and all
Right.
y'all. Be like,
Right.
just leave a note. Just leave a note.
I almost did DB Cooper. But I feel like DB Cooper's been like saturated lately. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
like there was what that Netflix documentary and stuff like that. I was like, I'll find something else.
No, that was me. I was like, I want to do, and then like, no, wait, that's fine. I'll do something
Right.
that I hadn't heard of. I'm sure it's been talked about, but I hadn't heard of it. So
Yeah, I know. I was trying to find something that like was not like like with the cults, how Claire did the cultiest cult of all time. I didn't want to do like the most famous unsolved mystery
right.
ever, right off the bat. Find something that nobody really had known about. So, yep.
All right. So
It is
this
now your
week,
turn.
I bring to you the unsolved mysteries,
Mhm.
plural, of the Bennington Triangle.
The Bennington not the Bermuda.
Not Bermuda. We're not in the Caribbean. We are actually in Vermont. You're welcome.
Wow. Is this like the historic triangle? I'm
Oh,
kidding.
like the one that's in Virginia or whatever?
Yeah.
No.
We kept making fun of it like we were gonna get lost because it was the
Yes.
historic triangle and
Yes. No, although I've heard lots of things about the historic triangle as well. I might eventually do that one. Um, so I got all of my information from Wikipedia. Lol.
always.
All that's interesting, historic mysteries, and Vermonter.com.
Vermonter, okay?
Hmm. So, as I said, the Bennington Triangle is in Vermont. It is an area in the southwestern part of Vermont. I sent you a little map. It's
Yes.
really just an
It
area.
can't be that big because Vermont's not that big.
Right? Fair. Not super that big.
Right.
So it is an area in which several things have happened, but it's primarily known for several people going missing between 1945 and 1950.
Okay.
So the Bennington Triangle was a phrase first coined by American author Joseph A. Citro, who was a folklorist of the New England area and extensively researched paranormal history within New England, which is cool.
Nice.
So it gets confusing as to exactly the area it encompasses because it's kind of the center of it is a mountain called Glastonbury Mountain,
Okay.
and it includes kind of the towns around it. But some of the towns, including Glastonbury itself and Somerset, were like logging towns or industrial towns that declined after certain acts and things were passed in Vermont. And
Okay.
so they are basically just unincorporated ghost towns. Like no one lives there anymore. They're decrepit. There's some like random photos of people
Ooh.
going hiking in
Spook.
the area. But so it's hard to know exactly the lines, but it's
Right.
basically Glastonbury Mountain and kind of the wooded area around it.
I always find towns like that are abandoned, but they're still there,
Mm-hmm.
like semi fascinating. Like
Yes.
they're creepy
It's
AF, but
they
still, I'm like, but I want to go look.
right. I want to go look, but I don't want to go alone.
Right. Exactly. Or like that one, what was it? That one theme park that was like Wizard of Oz
Oh
themed.
God, it's like
And it's
all of my nightmares. Yes.
right, right, right,
It's
right.
everyone's
Yes.
nightmares. It's everyone's nightmares combined.
Yes.
is
Or even like some of the Disney stuff.
mhm.
Like, because Disney World and all that is so big. Like, there are places that they like cut off from, the public. Because there was like some kind of island
Oh, where things
that,
just decay and die.
yes. And you
Yes.
like, people like swim, and which I'm like, why would you swim? There are gators, you
Yep.
dumbasses. But
That's how you
whatever.
die, but you do you.
Yeah. And you like swim across, and if you get caught, it's like you're arrested by the Disney police. It's like, but yeah, things like that where it's just like it used to be there. I know it was there, and then it's just not there
It's not
anymore. It's
there
like
anymore.
you're like, did it just disappear? And it's like, no, it's still there, but
They
all these
just
abandoned
walked
buildings.
away. They
Right? Yeah, we'll have to go find and explore.
ooh, yes, yes we will. Cause I'm gonna move to New England. Do 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 do
Hey,
do
we'll be
do.
close. We should go look.
Dude, everything's close to New England. It's the magic of New England. It's
Right.
it's how I envision. For me, New England is America's um bastardization of Europe. The
Right.
ability to like easily move around and be in different areas or
Like
whatever relatively
trains and
quickly.
all
So
that. Yeah. I know.
totally
I
that.
just want to be able to hop on a train and be like, oh, I'm here
It's
for
like
like
well,
the
I'm gonna
day.
it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to New York for the day and
Right.
done. I saw a show, I had a good meal, I came back. Yay.
Right.
Stopped at the
Exactly.
Harry Potter store. The Harry
Yes.
Potter store.
We're doing that.
I mean, I hate J.K. Rowling, but like Harry Potter store.
Right. 100%.
okay, okay. So sorry.
Sorry, we
I get
digress.
it's distracting. It's New England's amazing, and there's multiple triangles there. By the way, this
Multiple
is not the only
triangles.
one, but
Oh my goodness.
this one
So
was one
many.
that I was like, the what now? Okay, so we're gonna talk about the disappearances first. So the first one happened in 1945. Um, a 74-year-old man named Mitty Rivers and his
Mitty.
son-in-law, Joe, went on a weekend trip with three other guys to go hunting. It's November 12th, and Joe and Mitty are out together when they reach a fork in the path. Um, they were apparently pretty close to their camp where they would set up, and so they separated. Joe heading back to camp, and Mitty saying he'd only go a short distance and then he'd come right back. They're heading for lunch,
Okay.
going back to eat lunch. But 3 o'clock comes and he still hasn't shown up. So Joe and the other hunters start searching for him because it's weird.
Yeah.
Couldn't find him. Get the authorities involved, and then they have an extensive search. and they find no sign of Mitty. The only thing they found was a single rifle cartridge that was the same type that he used in the river.
Wow.
And they speculated that he might have leaned over the bridge, to take a look at something and it fell out of his pocket. So they were like,
Okay.
they're not really sure. It wasn't spent, it was just.
It was just a cartridge.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it was really perplexing to everyone because Mitty was really familiar with the area. They'd gone there hunting several times, he knew it
Mhm.
well, and he was an experienced outdoorsman. So he knew how to take care of himself, and they never found any signs. It's not like maybe he's 74, maybe he fell or had like
Right.
a, a heart attack or something, but they
But they would
couldn't
have
find
found
him. They
him.
searched and
Yeah.
searched, and he couldn't have gone that far. Like he wasn't planning to walk for like hours.
Right.
So it was a very bizarre, just poof, gone.
Interesting.
So that was 1945, November 12th. So the second disappearance, and one of the more famous ones, happened in 1946 on December 1st. Her name was Paula Weldon. She was an 18-year-old at Bennington College. She was a sophomore and had recently learned of the quote long hike trail that was there, or
Okay.
nearby, and had decided that she really wanted to go on that trail, go for a hike. Many people saw her leave that day to go on the hike. She even asked someone who happened to work for the local newspaper for directions because it wasn't like directly off campus, it was a few miles
Right.
away. Um, she had tried to get friends to go with her, like to get together a group of people to go for a little hike, but everyone was busy. It's December. They're probably getting their final crap ready before the end of term.
Right. Yeah, get ready to go home.
So she went on her own. Um, she wore clothes that were appropriate for a day hike. It was about 50 degrees that day, but she did not take anything to deal with like the winter night chill when it would get down to 9 degrees. So you could tell she was just
Mm,
planning for like a little hike on a known path that lots of people use.
yeah. Just,
Um,
hey, I'm gonna go hike this for a couple hours, come back, it's gonna be fine.
she did hitchhike to the trail path. They interviewed one person who took her within like a couple miles to where it started.
Okay.
Um, but they don't think anything happened to her there because people on the trail saw her when she first started.
Okay.
And like she'd had a conversation with a group of hikers and they saw her head north on the trail. There was also an elderly couple who were out on the trail. Again, it's a well known area. Lots of people were walking it.
Okay.
It's defined trails and paths, not just go walk in the woods. like
Yeah, this wasn't like some
it's a
like
trail. It's a path. Yeah.
vague little
Yeah.
trail in the woods. Yeah, like everybody's like, oh, we know where it is. So
To the point that there was an elderly couple out walking on it,
right. Yeah.
who saw her. She had, I guess, passed them at some point, being younger and faster. Um, and she was about 100 yards in front of them, which is a sizable distance. I mean, that's a football field.
Yeah.
But like, so she was that far ahead of them on the path, but they were able to see her in front of them mostly. But there was a point where there's like almost like a corner, and so like she turns, and so they can't see her anymore. But by the time they get to that corner, they can't see her. She's not there. She's
She's not there at
disappeared. She's
all.
not on the path anymore, or at least not within
Where?
their view.
Yeah.
Um, they of course don't think anything about it because they just assume she knows what she's doing and she's off doing a thing. But she doesn't come back. What's really sad
Mm.
is that her roommate didn't report her missing until the next day because her roommate was just like, "Oh, she's probably just in the library studying."
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure she came back and she went to the library to study. I'm like, okay, so it was like the next day, but
Right.
Bennington College basically shut down the school for a few days, and everybody at the school and all the local law enforcement and the community, it was a huge search looking for her.
Yeah.
And they even offered a $5,000 reward, which is like $76,000 today.
Wow.
And they could find no evidence of her anywhere at all.
Dang.
Now, fun aside, um, the local cops there, of course, had theories about what happened to her since they couldn't find a trace of her. Because you know how
Right.
cops are. So I thought I'd share some of those because we always love what cops think,
Especially about women back in the
especially
50s,
about women.
back in the day.
Apparently, you'll love this one.
Okay.
Apparently, she had been in unusually high spirits. So they thought she
Shit.
had just run away to start a new life, maybe
What?
meet a secret lover and elope,
Ugh.
even though she took nothing with her.
I hate how they word crap too. High spirits.
Yep.
Oh, she's high strung. She's emotional. I don't know. It's just
Well, and
high
obviously
spirits. What
she's
the
got a
fuck?
secret lover and she's gonna go marry him. Like
What?
you would tell your friend or roommate, like you'd leave a note. You wouldn't because it's not home.
Something.
They're not at home. No, who's gonna write her?
Right.
Who are you writing her out to? They're adults in college.
I know. It's just like, gosh. Okay.
So that was one of their favorite theories.
Mm-hmm. No
Another
doubt.
theory is maybe she was injured and has amnesia. She'll turn up sometime.
What?
Do that many people get amnesia? Is that normal?
Okay. There are a couple things that happen that you see on TV and stuff as a child
Mm-hmm.
that they make it seem, and amnesia is one of those. They make it seem like quicksand and amnesia. They make it seem like those things are common, and you're gonna come into
Around every corner, you're
right,
gonna meet quicksand and probably get amnesia. That's
right.
right. Mm-hmm. It's
That's what
true.
they make you think as a child, and it is like I've seen these memes and stuff, especially about the quicksand. But I really feel like amnesia is another one that it's all over the place in
Yeah.
pop culture, in TV shows and
Well,
all that.
and
Like, oh, they hit their head, they've got amnesia.
I'm here to tell you,
Like,
you hit your head, you probably have a concussion, and maybe you're
right,
not thinking completely clear and straight, but you're not likely to have amnesia. Like that's just not a super common thing. Like
right,
you probably have a brain injury. It's not amnesia.
right.
Good lord.
Even like
Um
one of my mom and I, one of our favorite movies to watch together is While You Were Sleeping. He like hits his head and he's in the coma forever, and
mhm,
then he wakes up and he has amnesia.
yeah.
It's just like, really. But I'm like you. No, you hit your head. Go get your head checked out. You probably, yeah, concussion's probably most likely what it is.
Yeah. And they're like, anyway. Um, but also one of the other favorite theories. Now I'd like to remind you, their first theory was what, Claire? That she
High,
was what?
high spirits,
Yes.
and she ran away to
Because she
elope.
was, yeah. But another theory was that she was depressed and killed herself. I'm like, you can't have it both ways.
What?
Either she was in high
Okay,
spirits and was super excited to start a new life, or she was depressed and she was going to kill her. You can't, no, stop it.
right. Also, I feel like if she was depressed and killed herself, they would have
Would have
found
found her
something.
body because
Yeah, I feel like the high
they
spirits and ran
searched
away with a
for
non-existent
days.
lover is more likely than her killing herself because you would have found something. Jeez.
Stupid, stupid.
Maddening. It
Um,
is
and
stupid.
then finally they were like, possibly she was kidnapped and murdered, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
possibly.
great.
Hmm. But I will tell you, the cops sucked ass so much that like
No.
her dad was like super outraged and upset because it was just like local sheriffs, and we all know my
Uh-huh.
girls not fan of sheriffing. Um,
No.
but because of it, like he raised such outrage that the state of Vermont created the Vermont State Police after this
Okay.
because there was no like actual real crime people who knew how to do shit
Right.
anywhere. It was just
There wasn't any like real police work going on. It
no.
was just like, oh, we're just
Yeah.
guessing. Yeah.
She probably was and she probably got married. She was such high spirits. Or maybe he's actually depressed and she killed herself. Like, fuck is wrong with you?
No, it's just like, wait, what? Yes.
But
Well, good
this
for them for like
for
creating
being like, this
something.
is stupid. We gotta fix this shit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, origin story of the Vermont State Police. You're welcome. And this story is the inspiration that Shirley Jackson used for her 1951 novel called, I think it's Hangs a Man. It's all one word.
Hangs a
It
man.
looks like hangs a man.
But it's not like three separate
No,
words.
it's all together. I've never
Interesting.
read it, but I'm a big fan of
I've
Shirley Jackson, so it's cool, cool.
I've never, yeah, hangs a man.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard of it
Mm-mm.
until
I
now.
mean, I've heard of it in the way of I know I've seen this title before because every time I see it, I'm like, how do you, is it hangs a
How do
man?
you
Is it
say
hang
that? Yeah.
salmon? Is it
Yeah.
something else entirely? Hangsman.
Right.
Anyway, so this leads us to our third disappearance, which happens in 1949. And this one is the spookiest one. Are you ready?
Yes.
So, James Tedford was a veteran who disappeared on December 1st, just like
So all of this
Paula.
is like at the end of the year, like November, December. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what
So,
year did he
so
disappear?
Paula disappeared December 1st, 1946. He disappeared December 1st, 1949. It's been
Okay, so
3 years.
it was like 45, 46, 49.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um, he was returning to Bennington's soldiers' home after visiting relatives in St. Albans. So he was on a bus.
Okay.
Witnesses saw him get on the bus. He was on the bus the whole time.
Mhm.
At the last stop before the Bennington stop, which was like end of the line, I think. Um,
Yeah.
the last stop before, um, there were witnesses who saw him. He never got off the bus. He stayed on the bus,
Mhm.
and by the time, so like the bus leaves, he's on the bus, and they get to the next stop, the last stop, Bennington, and he's disappeared. He's not on the bus.
What?
Somewhere
So it wasn't
between,
even like he got on the bus and didn't get back on the bus?
no one saw him leave. They saw him on the bus. And when they get to the last stop, to the Bennington stop, he's not there. His luggage is still in the rack. And he still had
Ooh.
he has a bus timetable and it's open sitting on his seat. He's just not there.
Whoa. That is creepy.
Like he fucking disappeared on a
He like
bus as
evaporated.
they were driving through the Bennington Triangle.
That's crazy.
And like
Also, and why just him? Why not everybody on the bus? Like
and
that's
they
weird to
could
me
they
too.
could find no sign of him anywhere. Like there were no reports of seeing him, no one saw him. He just disappeared and he wasn't like upset or suicidal or any of those things. He
Right.
just suddenly
Mm,
wasn't there. It's creepy.
that is creepy. That is 100% creepy. Especially like you just like, wait, what?
Mhm.
Weird.
So our fourth disappearance is 1950,
Okay.
October 12th.
Okay.
Paul Jepson is an 8-year-old and he is with his mom, who is in her truck. She has stopped to feed the pigs. She and her husband are caretakers at a pig farm. And so her son,
Okay.
Paul, is with her and he stays in the truck. She's gone, 20, 30 minutes maybe feeding the pigs. And he's supposed to stay in the truck. But when she gets back, Paul is nowhere in sight. So
So
they,
you're like he got out of the truck.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, search parties were formed big because he's a kid. They're searching like
Right.
crazy. No sign of him anywhere. He was wearing a bright red jacket when he disappeared, so he should have been pretty easy to spot.
Right.
Um, but couldn't find any sign of him anywhere. And they even used bloodhounds to try and track him. And they tracked him to a place near the local highway where the local legend said is where uh, Paula, right? I always get names. I lose my name. Is it Paula?
The woman
Yeah,
Paula,
Paul.
yeah.
Oh, wow, it's weird. He's Paul and she's
Or-
Paula. That's weird. It's weird.
Huh.
But where people said that Paula had disappeared from. is where his scent dropped cold.
Ooh,
Spooky, spooky.
that is spooky,
So
spooky.
the last disappearance, the fifth one, also happened
Mhm.
in 1950 on
Okay.
October 28th, only 16 days after Paul Jepson had disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Her name was Frida Langer. She was 58 and was camping with her family. She and her cousin Herbert had left the campsite to go hiking, but had only gotten like a half a mile into their journey when she slipped and fell into a stream and got wet. And
Mm.
she was like, Herbert, I gotta go change.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm gonna run back to the campsite. I'm gonna change. I'll catch up. Just go slow.
Right.
And so he ended up kind of like hanging around and he kind of, putzed a bit, but she never came back. He waited a while and she never came back. So he went back to the campsite and discovered that she had never made it back to the campsite. Her husband had been there. He hadn't been feeling well. He had a headache or something. And there were other people around, people who were camping. So no one saw her. She had not come back.
On her way back, she
She
disappeared.
disappeared. And it was only like a half mile. It's nothing.
No, yeah,
It's
that's
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's literally a 10-minute walk. Like I just barely walked
Right,
in
yeah.
kind of a thing. And so um for the next 2 weeks after that, they did 5 searches using, aircraft, helicopters. They had over 300 people searching. No trace of her was ever found. Like they searched and searched. They couldn't find her. They went several miles out, up
Wow.
and down, everywhere because, like, where did she go?
Right.
But then somehow, May 12th, 1951, so about 6 months later, no, longer, 7 months later, they found her body in an area that had already been extensively searched. She wasn't there when they searched.
So they actually found a body
They
on this
found,
one.
this is the only one that they found a body, but
That's
they
creepy
couldn't
too.
determine a cause of death because the remains had decomposed so much.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And so you pointed out one thing that's really weird. One of the weird things about this is that they all disappeared basically the same time of year.
Yeah, because you it was never like, oh, January, February. It was all like
Right.
October, November. It's like
It's
the
like
last 3 months
it's
of the
all
year.
like late fall, October, November, early December. And it's almost there's like a so like there's one a year for the first 2 years, and there's a small break, and then there's another one, and then there's two the following year. Like they need to catch up or something. Like
Right.
it's weird.
Although I wonder if it was like maybe people disappeared, but you know what I'm saying? Like maybe they weren't local enough that,
Right, right. That people knew
you
that they
know,
were well,
right, that they were actually
mm,
missing.
and there's actually another disappearance I'm going to talk about a little later. Um, because the Bennington Triangle is not just about disappearances.
Oh, okay.
There are also lots of reports of UFO activity and strange lights that are probably UFOs. They also have sightings of Bigfoot like creatures.
Oh, okay.
So there's one called the Bennington Monster.
Okay.
The first sightings of the Bennington Monster um, were in the early 1800s. So there is a story about a
Wow.
stagecoach that was full of passengers that was forced to stop because the road had been washed out. And so as
Mhm.
they're like sitting waiting trying to, I guess, figure out what to do next or where to go next or wait for something, I'm not sure what they're doing. The driver was the first to notice large footprints in the mud that were just too large for a man to have made. And so like the other passengers got out and looked at it and they're like, oh, so like they all saw the footprints.
Oh. Yeah.
Um, but later on, their coach was actually attacked by a monster that knocked it on its
Whoa.
side, knocked the stagecoach to the side,
Oh my
apparently
gosh.
roared, and then ran back into the woods. And all the
Crazy.
passengers, you know, they couldn't give any kind of description. They were all so scared. All they noticed was it had big eyes. Like, we just saw its eyes or whatever.
Big eyes.
There were later sightings of the Bennington monster that described it as being large and hairy, a large hairy black thing over 6 feet tall.
Okay.
So this is the other disappearance. In 1943, so 2 years before the first one that we talked about,
One. Uh-huh.
a glass, oh no, uh, yeah, 1943. A man named Carol Herrick went missing on a hunting trip, which is similar to another story we heard.
Uh-huh.
His body was found, and it was found 3 days later, again in an area that had been looked. It hadn't been searched, it hadn't been there
Right.
before, but it was surrounded by giant mysterious footprints that they couldn't identify.
Hmm.
And it turned out he had been squeezed to death. Yep,
What? This is all very
it is
bizarre.
very bizarre.
Squeezed to
Squeezed to
death?
death. Like his ribs had been cracked and punctured.
Hmm.
His
Yeah.
stuff or whatever. Like so that was his cause of death. Squeezed to death.
Interesting.
But so that's it's attributed to maybe he was a victim of the Bennington monster. There's
Okay.
also the Wild Man.
The Wild Man.
In 1892, a Glastonbury man was working at a sawmill and he hit another man on the head with a rock and it killed him.
Ooh.
He was put in an insane asylum because he was clearly not in his right mind.
Right.
But he was eventually released and apparently went into the wilderness to live in the mountains and
Uh-huh.
became a hairy, deranged wild man. And he would sometimes travel down to the towns around the area, around Glastonbury Mountain, where he was living, just to
Yeah.
randomly expose himself to women. So,
Ew.
yeah. So there are,
I mean, did he have clothes or was he just running around naked?
I don't know. I mean, surely he had to have some kind of hides or clothing or something because
Something,
he'd
because it's
freeze to death. It's
cold.
cold in Vermont, guys. It's cold.
Right.
So there have also been reports, I said, of strange lights and things on the mountain.
Uh-huh.
There are people who think there are portals to other worlds because portals are
Ew.
just there.
Yes.
There have been stories of plane crashes in the area, mysterious figures being seen, and my favorite, terrifying voices on dead radio stations.
Ew, no, 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 no. No, no, no.
Now,
I'm not here for any of that.
the area is said to be cursed. Apparently, the Algonquin tribe, which was the indigenous people of that area,
Hmm.
had a legend that there was a malevolent stone in the mountains that would open up and devour anyone unlucky enough to step on it,
Hmm.
which
Interesting.
sounds like a portal.
It does, yeah, that
That
does
sounds
sound like a
awful.
portal.
Um, People say that when you walk into the woods on Glastonbury Mountain, you don't hear anything living. It's as though
Ugh,
even the animals don't venture there.
that's terrifying.
And Vermont is a prime hiking area, so there's lots of trails,
Right.
but the trails all stop partially up the mountain as though no one ever goes on from there. They all just, I'm like, we're done, turn around, bye.
Stop. We're not going to venture any further.
So
We don't need to see the unknown.
it is a scary area. I will say, some people, of course, who don't want to believe in the fun paranormal things, they have a solution as to or a cause. They know what's happening, why people go
Okay.
missing, why you're seeing all this. They have a
So
reason.
what is their reason?
Apparently, it's the wind.
What? The wind. The wind is making people evaporate on buses.
Yes.
That makes zero sense.
So apparently the wind is like really fucking weird in that area. I think one of the things I read
Still.
said that like Vermont, like this, or maybe this area specifically is like where the four winds meet or something stupid. Like
Still.
whatever. Um, and so it confuses people because the wind is confusing. And like, the fuck does that mean? Do
Right?
you follow
That's
a trail
weird.
or figure out where you're going based on the wind? Because I sure don't.
No. Mm-mm.
It's like, okay,
That's
like
weird.
that's fine. People disappear and get attacked by giant creatures and get squeezed to death and
It's fine.
hear terrifying voices on dead radio stations. It's just the wind.
Right. Nope. Nope.
And
Nope.
fuck
None of
that
that.
shit. That wind's haunted, all right? That wind, that's a
Right.
scary ass wind, and I don't want any of that.
Definitely. No, sir.
And so that is the story of the Bennington Triangle.
Oh, well,
Spooky.
that was definitely creepy.
Right? And I had no idea. I'd heard of none of this. Like all these people
No, absolutely
disappear
not.
and it's not a big place. Like it's the same thing
Right. Yeah,
and
like it's so small and
they all disappear at the same time and I'm like,
so but there's not been anything like really after.
um
Interesting.
it's more things like people are say things like there's the creepy things that they see and things that
Yeah,
they hear and
but
they're really
not so much
creepy,
as
but
like disappearances.
not that has been specifically attributed to the Bennington
Gotcha.
Triangle. So I don't know. I mean, probably people go missing all the time.
That's true.
So
Well, that was excellent. I had never heard of that either. Because when you texted me, I was like, I
you're
don't know
like,
what that
the
is.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I'm like, I was at
You
first
were like, are
I just
you
saw the B and I'm
misspelling
like,
Bermuda?
I know, I'm like, did your autocorrect like mess up? As it does.
As it does. As it does. Yes.
Because autocorrect is terrible and thinks it knows what you want to say, but it's wrong.
It is wrong.
It's never duck.
It's I mean, I'm not gonna say it's
Never.
never duck because I do like ducks, but like odds are it's not
It's
duck.
not
And it's
duck.
never ducking. I'm never ducking anything, all right?
Nope.
It's not my preferred method of avoiding something. I don't
And you know
duck.
what? It's not shot either. I can tell you that. It's probably not shot either for me. But anyway.
That's right. Mm.
Well, I guess it's that time.
It's time for tarot time
Hero time
with
with
April.
April.
All right.
I hate when that
Are
happens.
you ready?
Yes.
Tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Gotta shuffle the cards so that way the universe has got a chance to tell us what it wants us to know, whether or not it's gonna be a good week or a bad week,
Or
or
the Bennington Triangle's gonna get
indifferent.
us.
No triangles, no disappearances.
Stop.
Just good things.
Right.
Good things. Good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
All
Absolutely.
right, are you ready?
Yes.
Our first card is the Queen of Wands inverted.
Ah,
That's unfortunate.
Minerva McGonagall upside
She's an
down.
excellent card, but I don't know.
Yes. We've not had her
I don't
inverted
know if
though, I
it's
don't
gonna
think.
fuck us up being inverted. Then we
Right.
have the World.
Have we had that one?
I don't know.
Hang on. I don't think we've had that one.
Oh God. And then we have the Star.
We have had that one. It was back during Voodoo. We had that was Devil, World, and Judgment because we had we had three big ones, and we were like, "What the hell?" So it's been a minute.
Man, all right.
World.
These are all.
Have we had Star?
Yes, we had Star and we had Moon. We had Moon and Star with our big
Yeah.
world enders or whatever
Mm-hmm.
of death. Okay, so
But that was inverted. That Star was inverted.
well, hopefully this was better then. I don't
Right.
know.
So Queen of Wands was the only one inverted, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now my memory is that the court cards tend to be people, either you or someone within
Yep.
your
Mm-hmm.
purview or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
the the regular pips are kind of like your daily events, and then the um the major arcana cards are kind of like big things. They tend to be
Gotcha.
big things.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
don't
like
know what the
bigger
fuck all
deals.
this big stuff is, but all right. But so we're gonna start our week off with the inverted Queen of Wands. Lol. Um, the Queen of Wands inverted is about being truly self-serving, selfish, bitchy, and with a nasty temper.
Yes.
She does say this is a card that she doesn't tend to read inverted very often, even if it shows up inverted, because there's something, and I agree with this, because I love the Queen of Wands. It is, guys, it is Minerva McGonagall. If you need like a vision of who this is, that's who this is. It's
Right.
it's her. She is the Queen of Wands, of everything, as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned. She is
Right. Yes.
she is
100%.
perfection. But this is what Melissa Sinova says in her Kitchen Table Tarot book. Her inherent grace somehow disallows it when I'm doing a reading. The inherent grace of the Queen of Wands disallows being read inverted. So maybe we should just take that with a grain of salt and know how much we love
Right.
Minerva McGonagall, because her grace would not be like, she wouldn't be inverted. She's not self-serving or selfish or bitchy at all.
She can be snarky.
Yes. We are all here for her snark.
Yes,
Just
we are.
remember that she's a queen of action and mind your tone around her. Her confidence
Okay.
either pulls inward to shyness or lashes out as aggression. This woman is fierce.
Right.
So let's hold on to
Noted.
that instead of it being like it's selfish and bitchy. It's fierce. And that is a
There you
great word
go.
for Minerva McGonagall. Her sass,
Yes.
man, like when she's like, oh, I meant set by a competent teacher. I
Right.
love it so
Yes.
much. Oh, it
Yes.
brings me so much joy. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me clarify.
Right.
Okay. Midweek. The world.
The world.
The world card is the last card in the major arcana. Just so that you know. I'm gonna not read all the things about that card. One does not conquer the world, one discovers it. But I'm not sure who said it, but it covers the focus and achievement of the world. This card is associated with getting the job, finding balance in your life, and graduations and celebrations. It's a culmination of all of your hard work and the confidence that comes along with that. I love it.
Okay.
I'm here for that.
Yes.
Yes, give me that. All the things I want.
Give me all the
Give me
things.
all the things. Okay. We're going to end with a star. This time, right side up, no inversions.
Yes.
All good. Let's see. Do. It talks about a lot of the cards leading up to the star. So I'm trying to figure it out. If you imagine the towers collapse, what happens after a building falls? There's rubble everywhere. If you knew the landscape, everything has changed and you're now disoriented. There are clouds of smoke and the air is heavy with ash. You're heavy too, and the repercussions of what just happened. You're not looking for the glaring light of the sun or the watery, wavery light of the moon. What you need is a light that will fill your soul and shine on you so gently. Aw, this light won't hurt your eyes. The star peeks out and starts to quietly and slowly illuminate you. It sounds nice, actually.
Right?
Beautiful. That's what this card is. Hope, beauty, faith restored. This card is like a healing balm on an old wound. Just when you think everything is lost and the dark and twisties have taken you as far as you can go, you see the twinkling of the beautiful stars and your heart lifts. That's nice.
That was a nice card.
She's balanced and happy, and she reminds me of my friend Mary, who is so centered, so confident, and zen. Her reaction to stress is to chuckle and say, "Oh well, we can handle this." That is not my reaction. The star is the beginning. It's the first drink after days, months, years of being thirsty. You're so emotionally wrought and parched that the first spark of kindness makes you gasp and brings tears to your eyes. Oh, that's sweet. In readings, I have to remind people that it's okay to accept gifts freely given. Oh, that's nice too.
That is nice.
So, okay. Um, it's not as everything is super as the sun card, but it's more like a gentle hug and a pat on the back.
Nice.
I'm here for that. That sounds fine. I
Right.
like
Yeah.
that. That's a good. That's good.
It is good.
All right then. Huh. How nice. All right, Claire. That means there's
Yes.
only one thing left for us to do, and that is to
That's
find out
true.
what is our next topic that I'm going to spookify for October.
There you go.
Claire,
Doesn't matter what it is.
what is on our wheel
Wheel
of
of
fame?
Fame.
It's gonna be something spooktacular.
True crime.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that anyway.
Right, but like intentional spooky true crime. Yeah. I
Right.
have some because I have a whole list of things that I discovered along the
Right.
way. But
Right.
I am excited. Woo!
Yes.
True crime.
I mean, we
Then
basically make
spooky.
just about any topic true crime
I
related.
mean,
Almost.
if it's not true crime, then it has to be spooky. And if it's not spooky, then it has to be true crime. And if it's neither of those, then it has to just be fun.
Right. Right. And you're like, I need to find something really ridiculous to talk about.
Yes. So, yay. Yay. I am definitely come back next week and listen to our true crime that I will find a spooky one for. You're welcome. As I
Yes.
continue my journey into Spooktober,
Spooktober.
which often bleeds into Spookvember. So, sorry.
Right.
It's
Right.
just who I am inside.
And I'm doing Inktober.
Yes. And you should post those on like all of our things because they're really cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll
And
post
share
them
because
on
as we
the.
know, I can't. So and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I know who I am inside. That's fine.
Yeah. I'll have to do. Let's see if I can do a video
Yes.
of one, like a time lapse video or something
Oh,
of one
like
of
maybe
them.
like what you did this week kind of a thing. Like this
Yeah, like because
October.
I'm behind. I forgot about it, and I saw somebody post, and I was like, "Oh, I wanted to do that," and so I'm like, "I'm gonna catch up." So
Yay.
I've gotten 3 days in. I just need like 4 more to catch up to today,
You
but
can do.
I'm behind. I mean, and I'm just doing them really quick too. Like I'm not.
Stop rubbing it in.
What?
I'm just doing it really quick. It's just a little quick. And I'm like, look at that very distinctive gargoyle that I remember from our trip
Because
20
I
odd
pulled it
years
up.
ago.
I've got it. I've pulled it up on my iPad.
And I was like, I know that gargoyle. I know that very gargoyle. I know him.
I knew
I
you
know
would.
him.
Yeah. You're like, that is the gargoyle from our trip to Notre Dame.
I was like, yep, yep. So
That's it. Look,
that's
when I
just a
saw that
quick
the
little
first one was
whatever.
gargoyle, I'm like, I'm pulling that photo up and I'm doing that one because he's sticking his tongue out. Like that was like my fave.
Like I could
Like, cause he's
literally spend hours tracing the picture and it still wouldn't be as identifiable as your quick little gargoyle.
I mean, it was probably like, I don't know, 30 minutes ish on that one. Like, cause I did 3 yesterday
Mm-hmm.
because I was just like, oh, I'm going to sit down and work on this. And then the scurry one, I was like, everybody probably did a squirrel. So then I was like, oh, let's do a crab.
The
Actually, I
good
had
crab.
somebody, one of the ladies I work with at one of my jobs was like, "Hey, I'm a Cancer. Can I buy that off of you?" And I'm
Wow.
just like, "I could probably draw you a better one. That one was not
No, no.
not my,
Don't
like,
be
absolute
like,
best effort."
absolutely, I'll sell it to you right here, right now. Here, $20, it's yours, you know. You start selling that shit. Don't be like, let me make you a
I
better one. Be
know.
like, bitch, you get what I made. You liked it. It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
But anyway, yeah, Inktober, y'all should check it out if you like to draw.
or even if you don't, it's fun to try.
Yeah, draw it and post it. People are not hateful. At least I've not seen anybody be hateful lately, so and
Yeah.
also some people are, like, really good, and I'm like, "How long did it take you to do that? That would take me forever." So, but yeah.
But yeah, so follow
Anywho,
us everywhere so that you can see all of the cool Inktober drawings from Claire and none from me, not even one. But that's okay. I have other things. I have my own talents. Um,
she does.
so you can find us in all the things and all the places at,
Brunch and Judge.
and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us everywhere that you possibly can. It definitely matters. And share with your friends so that way they can also like us too. Yes.
Right.
And if you'd like to send us some topics for the Wheel of Fate or some suggestions for story ideas that we can have banked for when the Wheel of Fate favors us, please
Right.
send those things to us at,
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
and we will love reading all of the things that you send. So please do.
We will.
So until next time, keep on brunching.
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.
Brunch and Judge. Brunch and Judge. We brunch and judge everything and give you opinions that nobody asked for.